Welcome back everyone to A Faked Death, Cobra Kai Season 6 Watch Party. Now Season 5 ended on a cliffhanger of the biggest I should have seen that coming surprise twist ever. That is, John Kreese faked his death and escaped from prison. There's a certain calm in his actions. He knows what he's doing. He's at peace with himself, the universe, and God.
I'm begging you.
For what? Mercy.
There's a certain beauty in the simplicity of his story. He lost what he was building and broke out of prison to make it all right. He cares for nothing now except making good with Johnny and Cobra Kai. That is what matters. Kreese trained special forces, has seen the worst, and then studied karate personally under Grandmaster Kim Da-Eun. A Kreese with nothing to lose and no goals other than his own mission is a very dangerous prospect, maybe the most dangerous. But then it begs to ask, a danger to who? Well, the simple answer is whoever stands in his way. That would be the usual suspects, this time with an added bonus of Terry Silver. But then Silver is off the board and Daniel is on a victory lap. He thinks Cobra Kai is gone. Let's look at how all this will play out. There'll definitely be different segments to Kreese's story in Season 6, especially if the season is longer than normal. I see it as breaking into the early season, which could be as much as 6 or 7 episodes. This is a lot of the build-up and groundwork. Then there's the mid-season, which would probably have the Sekai Taikai and all those challenges. Finally, there's the end game. This would be dealing with the fallout and whatever else explodes after the Sekai Taikai. It's power to the end. Now the first important point to remember is that Kreese is on the lam, as they say. He escaped from prison and the police will be looking for him. That means he has to stay undercover. He can't just take over Cobra Kai and recruit new students, complete with a cardboard cutout of himself. That would kind of make himself very easy to capture. Surely a trained Special Forces veteran who knows how to operate behind enemy lines wouldn't be that careless. However, that isn't to say he has nothing to do with Cobra Kai. You remember Cobra Kai is a reflection of his soul.
I founded Cobra Kai. It belongs to me. It always has. And it always will.
That has never changed. He still believes in Cobra Kai and will see that through to the end. After all, defeat does not exist. But since he's on the lam, what does he do? His options are limited. But because his options are limited, we can probably guess what's up with a fair degree of accuracy. The key becomes Sensei Kim Da-Eun. She was given 50% of Cobra Kai, and it's likely she now has control of the dojo that Terry Silver is gone. So if she's controlling what will become of Cobra Kai, then Kreese will seek her out. Luckily for him, they have a history. It's not an accident when Sensei Kim stepped off that plane, she asked,
Sensei Kreese, not with you.
He had some legal troubles.
She accepted Terry Silver at his word, so she never tried to visit Kreese or talk to him about what happened. After all, Silver's story appeared to be true, but now even she knows the truth. She doesn't know Kreese escaped, but that doesn't matter. Kreese will come to her. The two have some sort of connection or bond, even if it's minor. The show made that clear in the flashback scene. It's not much, but maybe Kreese had a sort of big brother or funny uncle type of relationship with Sensei Kim. Clearly it's there for a reason. The question then arises, what comes of all this? That answer is a little tough. Kreese knows he's on the lam. He won't put Sensei Kim in any danger. Working with her or living with her would do just that. So he'll be discreet and subtle. He's on her side as she rebuilds Cobra Kai, and he'll work to get the obstacles out of the way. That may be it. One small encounter. He won't overdo it. The less she knows where he is or what he's up to, the better. All she needs to know is he's working for Cobra Kai, if at least in his own way. Now, Billy did mention there were 2 major fights in the first episode alone. I suspect one of these fights could involve Kreese in some way. Who he's fighting and why is a little bit of a mystery. The obvious guess would be Johnny or Daniel, but I don't think he's fighting against them. First off, he wouldn't move that fast on whatever he's doing. He could fight on their side against some undetermined bad guys looking to rough things up. Martin Kove doesn't normally have too many fights in a season, usually just one, so having it early is a way to get it in. That also sets Kreese as a fighter who has re-emerged and is a player in the show, even if it's from the shadows. Now, it's difficult to theorize on what his role will be in the subsequent episodes after this introduction. Is he working with Sensei Kim in secret? Is he trying to track down Johnny or maybe Robbie to gauge their reaction? I could see that. There's also a chance he wants a little payback on Daniel after his not-so-merciful note and trick at the prison. A man who confronts you is an enemy, and a man who double-crosses you might as well be the devil. Certainly as we get later into the season and the dojos go to the Sekai Taikai, Kreese will fade away. It's way too risky for Kreese to travel internationally. He won't risk getting caught. He'll stay behind in the valley while everyone else heads for the world tournament. Actually, with everyone out of town, maybe he can now work in those shadows and get his pieces in place. What that is exactly, we don't know. You remember that Kreese ultimately didn't care for the Sekai Taikai. That was Terry Silver's motivation. Now it's Sensei Kim's. She wants to bring the way of the fist to the world. While Kreese doesn't mind that it's not what he's after, just as it was in 1980, Kreese's sights are closer to home.
There's this new kid. I got a feeling about Terry. I think that he could be our best ever. Even has the same name as me.
Johnny has meant something to Kreese from the beginning. The show has deliberately made that clear, and it's not an accident. Meanwhile, Johnny's connection to Kreese has been central to his character the whole way. Think back to the first episode. You remember when the games were playing with Johnny's head? He went to the All Valley Sports Arena and relived moments from his past. It was these moments from the beginning of Karate Kid 2 that were haunting him to this day, and so it was. He relived that moment again. It was the moment everything in his life changed for the worse. I made a video on that in Kreese before that you should definitely check out. A lot of people really like it. I'll also link it at the end. Either way, the point is that show has made clear from the first episode that Johnny and Kreese's relationship is crucial to the whole story. This will be resolved. It only makes sense that this story contributes to the climax of the series. What that climax will be is still uncertain. There's a lot of ways we can take this. Perhaps the most common prediction is that Kreese will somehow die, perhaps sacrificing himself to save Johnny or Robbie, and in doing so achieve a final redemption. Maybe it's even Daniel he saves, who knows? Considering my previous video that speculated Hector Salazar could re-emerge with a few of his very bad men, that is very much in play. It marries both ideas together. Hector is after Johnny because he saw him and Carmen marry. He's mad, jealous. They fight and Johnny wins. However, Johnny decides to show mercy. He is Miguel's father after all. That mercy is a mistake. Hector uses it and goes for revenge. But just then, Kreese steps in and saves Johnny. He takes Hector out, but in turn receives a fatal blow. The hard lesson is learned. It doesn't matter who the enemy is, an enemy deserves no mercy. Now, there are some other possibilities. It may not necessarily be death and redemption, or it may not be Hector Salazar. What if Terry Silver's lawyers finally get him off? He's out, but he doesn't care. He wants revenge on Johnny and Daniel. He goes for them, but Kreese steps in the way. Kreese and Silver fight, an epic battle between the Cobras. Will Terry Silver still telegraph that wheel kick? We'll have to see. Or maybe Kreese tries to help Johnny or even Robbie in other ways. He builds a sort of trust and uses that trust to further Cobra Kai. Maybe Kreese and Johnny will fight. Not because Kreese actually wants to beat Johnny, but because he wants Johnny to beat him. That is the only way Johnny can truly take over Cobra Kai. You defeat the current master and assume the role yourself. I'm unsure what leads up to that moment, but it could end the series where it all began. Johnny reopens Cobra Kai. You remember you can be Cobra Kai and still be graceful even in defeat. That was shown at the end of the first film when Johnny gave Daniel the trophy, except Johnny doesn't remember that. The show made that clear. There's no reason Johnny can't rebuild this Cobra Kai, this dojo from this moment. That's where it all leads to. I talked about that moment before in my video on Kreese, so be sure to check it out. You'll like it. Otherwise, have a great day. I'll see you at the next watch party.